Hey, it's Amber Viola, and welcome to Season 2 of Politics But Make It Fashion. Come interview with me. Hear incredible stories from business owners, content creators, bloggers, politicians, and more. Come chat with us. This week on Politics But Make It Fashion, come interview with me. I have the pleasure of interviewing Elyse, aka the Money Mentor and the creator of the Savvy Sagittarius and the Savvy Budget Workbook. She mentors, teaches about the psychology of money, paying off debt, and how our habits affect our money. Elyse is a hardworking single mother of a toddler and also a dog mom. Guys, welcome to another episode of Politics But Make It Fashion. Come interview with me. And today I have Elyse, the Savvy Sagittarius, aka the Money Mentor, who I had the pleasure of seeing on Insta. She is manifesting her 2024, guys, and she wanted to do more podcasts, and I wanted to learn how not to be poor. So here we are coming together. And also I really I was going through your content and I was looking because there's a lot of people who post about money stuff, and honestly, it goes in one ear and out the other. But there
I
was something about your stuff that really I was like, okay, I think I believe her. It seems doable, and I want to see what she's talking about. So thank you, Elyse, for coming on here.
thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Yes. Okay, so you had posted on your Instagram that you wanted to kind of do more podcasts this year. So tell us kind of why. Why did
Oh,
you feel like you wanted to share your message?
podcasts are my 2024 out of my comfort zone goal, because I truly believe that I'm very active on Instagram and TikTok, and it's podcasts are the space that I'm not in, but I know that I don't have the space for being having my own podcast,
Mm-hmm.
but I love people who love podcasts, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yes, it does. It definitely does. So I was reading kind of like the info going through your link tree and your Facebook and stuff, and it says that you started when you were around 22 years old.
Yes, I was working full time as a bartender. I was also, I joined the military at 17, was working full time for the military, was a part time bartender for a while. And I remember someone at my military job, they're like, "Oh, you're so lucky that you got into this government job at 19 because you can retire at 39." And I'm like, "I am not doing this for another 20 years." It cannot be me. And that was kind of one of those moments of how do I get out of this rat race? How do I get out of this cycle of this 9 to 5 is not for me. And so
Right.
what do I got to do? And I kind of stumbled upon a debt freedom, and having that just the freedom to choose what your money is funding. And that was a huge spiral into the finance community.
What branch of service were you in?
I was Army National Guard for 6 years.
Ooh, girl, the army is crazy.
It is.
This is a side note, girl, but did you see that they lowered the standards for the Navy to where you did not need a GED or a diploma to get in now? You do need
Oh,
ASVAB 50 or above, but you don't need any of that.
interesting. I
Hmm.
know that they are some branches are we need all the people, and other branches are nah, we still don't want you.
So one of the things that really struck me was that you were a bartender, and I'm a veteran too, so I was active duty, and a lot of vets or a lot of active duty service members also have side jobs because you don't make that much money. Something that people don't really realize. And once you start having kids, you qualify for WIC, you qualify for welfare and stuff while you're in the military.
Absolutely.
Right. So, how did you kind of get on your journey when you're like, all right, I'm going to the deep dive of like being financially knowledgeable, and you decided to get out?
Yeah. So I was National Guard, but I was like a full-time like civilian employee. And so I was working 9 to 5 at my office job for the military. And then I would get off and I would go bartend. And then I was living off of my bartending income, so that literally on payday from the military, I was like, here, it's going all to debt. Like I saw that money for maybe like 8 minutes. Um, and then I was like, here, it's debt payment done, like $1,000, $2,000 towards debt, whatever. Like it's all gone now.
So, why do you think that we as a society feel that financial stuff is like an older person's game? Because I just kind of always feel like it's like for older people and retirement, and that, I can't possibly be debt free, or I can't possibly do this as like a single parent with like this kind of job.
Absolutely. I get this. I think there's like a couple different reasons. The first reason is like our brain doesn't fully develop until 25. And so like our prefrontal cortex, I have a psychology degree also. That's an important piece of this information. Our prefrontal cortex is what helps us make like decision making and like problem solving. And so I think that like that development into our 20s is kind of like one of the things that we're like, oh no, like it keeps us from thinking about the long-term future and thinking about those like bigger picture things. We're like, nope, we're gonna live in the moment. There's also really this like this notion, or this like I see it a lot as like a trend on social media of like, I'm going to enjoy my life because tomorrow's not promised.
Right.
And I fully like, I do get that, but like, man, I'm enjoying my life knowing that future me is taken care of. So
Yeah.
like, I think we need to kind of change that narrative of like finding a balance with money, because I think a lot of the content that we see around money is so much like, you can either be on a budget or you can enjoy your life, but like you really
Right.
can do both.
Yeah. Well, and so much of the stuff I see online when it talks about like getting debt free or financial independence, the people always have so much more money than I do.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, okay, well, how do I start this? What's the starting point of it when I don't have an extra $300 to put away? Like can I put $7 away? Like, where do people start who are living paycheck to paycheck, who are single parents, um, to where it's kind of attainable? So like, what was your starting point, and how would you tell us to kind of start?
I that is actually like 100% the reason I started my Instagram, because I was in that bartending space and I felt like I was very alone. Like I was like, I don't see anyone else who is like not with a college degree, not with like a high paying job, that, it was very much that like all of the success that I
Yeah.
saw. And I was like, okay, cool, you're like able to do this, but like and so I that's why I started my Instagram. So it's so funny that you say that like that kind of still carries through in my content.
Mhm.
That like makes me very excited. um but I think that this like, I think one of the first like starting points is really just totaling up your debt and seeing like where you're actually at. I talk a lot about like um the very first step to me really is, what do you want from life? Like, what is your dream life? And what is it going to take to get there? Because I
Mm.
think so many people are like, oh, I should budget. I should be an adult. I should be responsible. That is not going to motivate anyone
Yeah.
to keep going. And so I think a lot of people have done this thing where they're like, I'm going to budget and I'm going to be responsible. And then literally like 6 days in, they're like, this is terrible. This is boring. But like when you start thinking about that dream life and thinking about like what you want on the other side of financial freedom, like for me, I have a 3-year-old son, and I want to have like a cabin at a lake where we go like every week in the summer, and we go like for the holidays. And that's like I want to build those memories of like this was where everything happened. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's what like lights my soul on fire, and that's what keeps me going when I'm like, I literally don't want to pay off debt right now. I don't want to make an extra payment. I just want to go live my life. I'm like, no, I want my son to have a cabin and a lake house and like all these memories around it. So like finding something that truly just like lights your soul on fire is to me the biggest key in like and actually achieving your goals with finances.
Yeah, and I think you have to have clear set goals of like what you want to do and whether it's little or big. I
Yeah,
want to be able to go out to eat whenever I want and not have to think about it. Not, nothing crazy, just want to take my kid out to eat. I want to be able to say, "Hey, let next month let's go here."
yeah,
I live in NEPA, so going up to New York is only 2 hours away. Say, "Hey, let's go up to New York. Let's like grab a hotel for the night and stay." I want to be able to do little simple things like that without it being like, "Oh, we're not going to eat for 4 days."
absolutely. And I think that in our minds we think like we can't have it all, so why even try?
Right.
But I think that like I was talking about this on my Instagram stories last night, in how like I really want there's like this $200 house project that I'm working on, and I'm like, if I really just cut out takeout for a month, like I could have this next month. Like, and so it's deciding like if you can cut that little things, those $5 to $10 treats for a short period of time, you can have the bigger thing. And I'm not saying like no, you can never have the small things, but like it's kind of deciding like, hey, if I really focus on this like $5 and $10 spending, then put that money towards something that I really want. It feels more like um I can't think of the word that I'm like, it feels more achievable, but
Yeah.
also like those $5 and $10 treats, like as soon as you buy them, they're gone. And so then like having these like just a slight bit bigger, like $100 treats that you're like, I saved for this and I was intentional for this, and it becomes more like attainable to your goals.
Right. So, what is this then like no spend month? If we're
Oof,
looking at like cutting out the little things, and guys who are listening, I don't this is not telling you that you can buy a house if you stop eating avocado
absolutely
chips.
not.
Like this is
We're not
not
doing that.
like this is not that. But how would we start doing say a no spend February, and like what is a no spend month?
So I have kind of taken, I think, the traditional no spend month and like warped it a little bit. For me, a no spend month is back to the basics. So it's bills, it's gas, it's groceries, it's really nothing else. But instead of saying like, oh my gosh, we're not allowed to buy anything. Like I think that's such a scarcity mindset. It's almost that like poor me, I'm so deprived like in this no spend month. I really want to challenge people who are doing no spend months and like kind of doing it to focus on like, holy cow, there's so much abundance in my life that I already have. I have a bookshelf full of books that haven't been read. I have craft supplies like crazy, the falling out of the craft closet. Like why am I, I think sometimes we get so busy that we feel like we need to be going, going, going. And that costs money. And so I think no spend months are a chance for me to like slow down, say like what can we do with what we already have? How can we be a little bit more creative? And how can we be really like grateful for the things that already exist in our life? And then with that extra money, how can I like one of the big focuses for my no spend January was being able to do a couple like small weekend getaways in February.
Right.
And so like it's that difference between again like saving those $5 and $10 treats and doing something bigger and more um more um I don't know, like better with your money, I guess.
Yeah. So how would you answer the question if somebody said like, okay, well, I'm living paycheck to paycheck and I'm not really spending any extra money?
I think that there's really this tough love that has to be had of like, if you are truly not spending any extra money, then the income has to increase.
Mm.
And that can look different for a lot of people. And I don't want to say that in a way that like sounds so tone deaf, because I
Yeah,
think
like,
sometimes
oh,
it
just
does.
go get another
Yeah,
job.
just go
Like,
get another job, But like one of the biggest things I would say is like, one, start with your subscription, start with your monthly bills. Can you call around to different internet places and find cheaper internet or cheaper insurance or cheaper, little things like that. It does add
mhm.
up. It's $20 here, $30 here, but like that's getting somewhere. And then you start with like, okay, what am I actually spending at the grocery store? How can I like make better use of that? America has the highest food waste out of any country, and so how can we? One of the things I talk about a lot on my Instagram is the concept of like zero food waste. Of like,
Mhm.
how can I use up this half jar of pizza sauce that we used for one thing? How can I turn it into another meal to where I'm not letting that thing go to waste and stretching it just a little bit farther.
Right.
And then it's 2024. There are so many ways to make money, and I am like, every time I see a new side hustle on the internet, I am like, I would have never thought of that, but like, go you, because I think people are so stuck in the like, I have to work. Or like I have to go to a job for extra money.
Right.
And there is just so much wild cycles out there that like one of the ones I saw was like, if you have a yard, you can rent out your yard for people who don't have yards to let dogs come,
I've seen
play.
that with like the pool things and stuff. I was like,
Yeah,
that
you
is
can.
the coolest
and
idea.
and like th- um there's just googling side hustles, like it's not the traditional like get a second job. It doesn't have to be. There's so many ways that you can make money, and now like I'm so blessed that the Savvy Sagittarius is my like full-time income, so I get to be a single mom without a like quote unquote traditional job, because I've built this business over the last 7 years. But
Yeah.
like I'm so freaking thankful every day that like I built this business, because being a single mom is freaking hard.
No, it's
But
so
like
hard.
and I know that I sound like, I don't know, that I'm so thankful that I don't have to add in the hard of a boss and calling in, and just that like added layer of hard that comes with being a single mom. Um because there are some days where I'm like, I have to cancel this meeting, but like that's the worst that happens if my kid is sick. Like my kid was sick
Right.
on
Right.
Wednesday. And that is like what it looks like on the other side of building this like financial freedom and building a business, really. But I know that we've lived on less income than I maybe would have wanted to at some points, because I knew our budget, I knew our numbers. And so I could
Mm.
say, like, hey, it's okay if we don't make as much money this month because the bills are being paid. Like, I know our numbers and I know where
Right.
to cut when we need to cut.
Right. And I think that trying to find little savings here and there are so important. And, even just for me, I have the choice of like shopping at Giant or going to Aldi. Giant is way closer, but Aldi is cheaper,
Yeah.
and how many people will like choose a more expensive place or even like more expensive food. I remember I was dating this guy and he went grocery shopping and came back and I was like, what is this? Like, you bought three things. And he was so proud. And I was like, okay, not to get on your case, but like this one box of cereal, we could bought four generic boxes of cereal. Like,
Yes. And and it really is, and it's like there's a TikTok page, and I think she has a YouTube channel called Dollar Tree Dinners.
yes,
and
yes,
and
I followed her.
oh,
Yeah.
love her, because I think it takes that conversation of like accessibility. And she talks a lot about like the ableism and being able to like walk through a whole Walmart. That takes a lot for a lot of people.
Hmm.
And so like taking it into a Dollar Tree, and like, yes, there are things that you can get cheaper at Walmart than Dollar Tree, but to make it so accessible for so many people is
Right.
so powerful, I think.
Yeah. And a lot of people, so in my hometown, there's not, the grocery store is maybe about like 10 minutes away. But if you don't have a car, like
Yeah.
you are not getting there. It's country, it's always doing some type of precipitation. And
Always.
so like the Dollar General is the grocery store, and actually I believe Dollar General, Dollar Tree, and like Family Dollar, I'm pretty sure it's all owned by the same parent company, and they are
Yeah.
the biggest grocery store chain in the US.
That's so
So
wild.
that is where people are shopping, and allegedly they are trying to do better with offering more fresh food options. Are like the one I'm talking about actually has like potatoes and tomatoes and
Oh,
onions
cool.
and different stuff, and you can get that. But before that, I mean, that's where you're grocery shopping. So for somebody, and I watched her Thanksgiving video,
Yeah.
and for somebody to be able to go in and say, okay, if you have $15 or if you have $10, this is what you can buy, and this is what you can, and this is how you can make it to where it's not gross. Right?
Yes. And I think that so many people push back on this idea of like I would never shop at Dollar Tree. I don't want to. Even from like a like I don't have to.
Yeah.
But thinking of it even in a short term of if I do this for 2 months, how much money can I save? How much money can I put towards that goal? How much, and like maybe it's not a forever thing. Maybe that's your goal is to get on the other side to where you can walk into Giant or whatever grocery store you want and like be okay with that because you have the wiggle room in the budget now.
Right.
But I think we need to look more at finances at like some of the short-term sacrifices for that long-term gain.
Yeah. So you wrote the Savvy budget, right? So
Yes.
how did that like workbook come about? How did you kind of start that?
I had so many people who were like, I don't even know where to start. That's probably my number one question. I don't know where to start with my money. It's so overwhelming. There's just so many aspects to money that I don't even know where to start. And so I really wanted to lay it out step by step. If you print it out and you go page by page through that, you will have a financial plan for what to do next, what to do next. And it starts that first page is that dream life of like what lights your soul on fire. And then it talks about like what can I cut back on? Like what do I love spending money on? Because I think that's a powerful conversation too
Yeah.
of like there are things that are non-negotiable in my budget. Girls night for me, date nights for me, non-negotiable. But like I'm willing to cut out that like fast food run right before some appointments because one of my number one rules is like I refuse to get takeout by myself because I can enjoy like I would rather enjoy spending money on that with friends.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
like if I am in a drive-through at
That's a
noon
good
on a
one.
Wednesday, it's because I failed to plan. It is not because I need this food right now. It's because I didn't eat before I left the house or I didn't, plan to do,
Mm.
I am somewhere where I did not plan to be. I do not need McDonald's drive-through at Wednesday at noon. And so like but cutting those like again, $5 to $10, man, McDonald's is almost $20 sometimes
Man,
now.
I'm saying.
And so like it's cutting those like small things of like deciding what is worth it to you. And I know
Right.
plenty of people who have stressful jobs who are like, nah, lunch is my chance to like
Yeah.
leave the office, go get my food and come back. And so like if that's your thing, then like what are you cutting? But like every budget is so different.
Right.
And I think that that's where there's like a miss in financial content on the
Mhm.
internet is they're like if you just cut out your avocado toast and $7 latte then you can be
Right.
no.
And you're like, I don't even drink $7 lattes. So like
Yeah.
what am I
Yeah,
what
and
am
so
I supposed to do?
but it's like what is that thing and so that's like part of the no spin tracking and like tracking your habits for 30 days and seeing like dang, I stop at the gas station for an energy drink every day, but I don't just get an energy drink, I get a candy bar or I get a bag of
Yeah.
chips or I get like it's never just the energy drink. um and and so and those are like things that add up.
Yeah.
And so I think it's like really taking a look at your actual habits and taking that and saying like what do I want to keep and what do I want like if I want to keep it, where can I fit it into the budget And if I don't want to keep it, how can I cut it out or cut back on it?
Right. I've cut so much stuff out of my budget and I'm always trying to cut more, but one thing I did decide, I was like, I need my nails done. I don't care.
Uh-huh.
I can't. I can't be Queen Nubbins. I can't do it. I've tried. I do my own eyebrows now. I do my
Oof.
own hair. I have not, Lord, I have not gone to get a blowout or anything. Like I've cut so much stuff out, but I realized I was like, I'm. This makes me happy. This
Yes.
brings joy to my life, and if I can't do this one thing, like I can cut out everything else. And I think that's okay to
Yeah.
be able to say like this is gonna be like my little treat. For me, one of the things I like, I don't really drink soda really, but I do love a fountain Sprite from McDonald's.
Yes.
And like if I can go and just get that and nothing else, that would save me tons of money, but still makes me feel like I'm having like a little treat of the day, you know?
Absolutely. And one of the things that I talk about a lot I'm just getting ready to launch another course, and it's going to be like how to actually stick to your budget. So it's a lot more of the like psychology around money,
Mhm.
and a lot more of like the mindset and the habits and those things. But like one thing that I talk about a lot is like romanticizing those treats. Like if you're going to go get your nails done, you're going to get dressed up, you're
Mhm.
going to do your hair all nice, you're going to like feel good about yourself, and then you're going to go get your nails done and you're going to not feel guilty about it because this was in the budget and this was planned for and this is my treat.
Right.
But I think so often we like have our little treat and then we feel guilty for it and then we want another treat and then we feel guilty for it and then it's just a cycle of like I want this treat, but like then we feel bad about it because but if it's in the budget, we don't feel bad for it.
Right. Right.
But that's the powerful thing when you start budgeting is that you don't have to feel bad for the things. I think that so many people who aren't currently budgeting feel bad because they don't know where their money is.
Yeah.
But like when you know where your money is and you know that you planned for this, like spend it. Like
And that is so crazy because with the last couple, like one of the last relationships I had, like he never knew where the money went.
whew,
And that was something that was so
red flag.
frustrating because it's like, okay, if this is your how much you're getting a month, even if it's like if you're getting $500 a month, where's that $500 go? You should be able to tell me
Yeah.
where it's going, okay, well, my phone bill is this much, my cable is this much, my electricity, like all those things. You should be able to know kind of how much they relatively cost, even if you're like overestimating the cost of it. But there are very many people out there who like can't tell you how much their car insurance is, or like can't tell you exactly how much their phone bill is, or all those things. And then you kind of are like, oh, well, I'm broke. Well, why?
Why? Yeah. And so the in my budget workbook, there's three like main exercises and it starts with the dream life and then it goes into like what do you love spending and what do you like want to cut out. And then the third exercise really is that like where did your money go in the last 30 days? And so I challenge the workbook to go into your bank account and see like where did your money actually go for the last 30 days? Because I think it's so easy to say like, "Oh yeah, I spend roughly this on groceries and roughly
Mm-hmm.
this on whatever." But it's I saw a statistic that people are guessing that they're spending almost half of what they're actually spending when they actually add it all up.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to say like, "Oh, I went to the grocery store and did a big grocery trip for $100 or
But then what
$200,
about
whatever."
all the little
What
trips?
what about all those like, "Oh, I forgot one ingredient and now I
Mm-hmm.
got 7 ingredients." Because you never there's a whole field of people in marketing who their whole job is to get you to spend money. You're
Yep.
not going to go into a store and only spend on that one thing that you need. That's why milk's in the back. If
Mm-hmm.
you need milk, you're walking all the way past every sales item and every little end cap and they're banking on the fact that you're going to pick up one thing at
Right.
least. That's
That
why
was
have
something
you
for
ever been in
me.
TJ Maxx, man? Home Goods? I'm looking at you guys cuz that checkout lane is ridiculous. Like their whole store
Those are
is in the
places
checkout
that I
lane.
no longer go.
Me neither.
I do
I
not
can't.
go to TJ Maxx or Marshalls. Or home
because
goods.
I can't stand in that checkout lane
Nope.
without buying 6 extra things. But they know that. They
Mm-hmm.
know that, and that's why it works, and that's why they keep doing it, because this is like the biggest conversation in my course, is that they know.
Yeah.
And so you as a person, as a consumer, have to say, I can't go in there. If I'm going to order something, I have to order it like Target pickup.
Yep. Yeah. My
That's the
one thing.
game changer. I'm going to pick up that one thing that I need, because I'm not going in that store. I will
Yeah.
ship it to my house and pay the $5 in shipping before I go in the store and spend 20 extra dollars.
The online grocery thing for me, honestly, was a life changer. And
Yes.
actually, I found that I spend less money, even though if I get them delivered,
Yep.
because I'm actually just buying things and I can see what I bought already, like, and I can rebuy those things. Also, and I stopped going to the grocery store. Like, I try to do the one big shopping thing like every twice a month, but I really like I need milk right now, but I also know like in a week I need to go get groceries. So I'm just gonna stretch it out so that I can
Yep.
go because those when I had done a budget when I was getting out the military, that's something that I saw because on there I'd put like, oh, I only spend $150, $200 a month on groceries. But then going through Navy Fed, I saw like, okay, well, I spent $30 here and $20 here and
Yes.
$10 here. And I was like, oh, I went to the grocery store like every week, you know?
Yeah, and people are grossly underestimating those like $5 and $10, because they're gone in our mind. Like
Mm-hmm.
realistically, we remember like the things over $70, but like anything under that, like we don't. That's why girl math was such a
Girl,
like trending thing, and it kills me because that's actually how our brains
it
work.
really is.
But that's so dangerous to our finances, because you add up all of those $10 purchases, you could have gone on an all inclusive by the end of
Right.
the year. Like, and really, like, that's what budgeting is. And that's what I
Mhm.
want people to know, is that budgeting really is, hey, I'm going to cut out half of my $10 purchases, and I'm going to go on that all inclusive with that money,
Yeah.
because it really is like deciding what you want most and what you can do without.
Yeah. I went on an all inclusive, not this past summer, but the summer before. And a lot of people were like, how are you able to do that? And I was like, well, luckily my best friend, who was one of the people who planned it, but we paid for it over time. It was part of
Oh
our
yeah.
budget. I think I was trying to pay like $100 a month for it or whatever. And and it took me a while, but I did it. Like, and I budgeted out, okay, this month I'm going to buy my plane ticket. This month
I
I'm going to
love that.
pay for my excursion to go snorkeling. Like this month. And you kind of do those things, and then by the time I got there, I didn't have to pay for anything, and the only money that I needed was spending money, which actually wasn't
Yeah.
really that much because everything was already paid for.
Yeah, and I think that that's such a powerful way of, like, if you're wanting to do something like that, break it down into like, how much are you going to spend on this? How much are you going to spend on this? And actually make that your focus of like, maybe planning a trip, like an all inclusive, like looking at that total budget and thinking like, I could never afford $2,000, but like maybe in your mind you can afford a $400 plane ticket. So like save up for the $400 plane ticket, and then save up for the hotel, and then
Right.
save up
Yeah.
for this bit.
Yeah.
Like breaking it down into those like achievable bite-sized goals. I talk about one of the most powerful things I've done in my budget is I set a goal every Sunday for the next 7 days. And so, like this Sunday, my goal is to put $200 towards my travel fund. And so, like, that means that I have to take action on that goal right now. Like, I can't wait until next Saturday and be like, oh, I got to come up with $200. Like,
Right.
it's the little things all week long. Um, but creating those like 7-day goals of like, what actions can I take this week to get me just even a step closer towards my goal.
Right.
And I think a lot of times we're like, this month, like this year, I know, New Year's resolutions, everyone's like, this year I want to, save $100. Okay, that's not big enough for your brain, because your brain in December is going to be like, oh, I wanted to save $100. But like there's no urgency to that, because
Right.
it's not going to stretch you and like force you to take action immediately. And so like setting goals that are like in that like stretch but not delusional goal.
Right, and
Uh
putting it away. So for
yeah.
me, I don't need to see it. So like as soon as my little VA hits, that needs to go. So
It's
and
gotta
if you're
go.
like that, then that you need to know that.
Yes. And I think that's kind of the goal in my actually stick to your budget course is figuring out who you are and what works for you. Because I think so many financial creators are trying to sell this like one size fits
Yeah.
all approach of like, if you just do this one thing, like that doesn't work for everyone. And the more truly the change in my content happened around 2020, 2021. And I did some deep dive, I did some work on myself, and I like learned a lot about a lot of different people, and doing so led to me understanding that like there isn't a one size fits all to finances. However, everyone has money or has no money. And it apply like financial content can apply to everyone, but the goal is to like say, what is your psychology, what is your thoughts around money, and how are those affecting your financial situation right now?
Right. I like that. Yeah. I definitely would advise everybody to go check out the Savvy Budget Workbook because it's really, really great and you should download it and it's gonna really upset you
Yeah. And
when you look at what you're spending your money on. But
and it's
cutting out
$24. Like we've talked about multiple times in this episode. Cut out one trip to McDonald's at this point, and you have a budget workbook that's going to save you a bunch of money in the long run, and it's going to really give you a firm place to start, because once you lay it all out on paper, it doesn't feel as like overwhelming.
right, right. What advice would you give people on kind of just paying off debt and trying to get to a point where you're kind of more on an even keel?
I always go back to, there's a couple of things. So back to that 7-day money goal and really breaking it down into like, what can I achieve this week or this pay period? Um, and focusing on like that. So if you're looking at your total debt number and you're like $20,000, your body is going to send itself into that like panic and anxiety. Because really, if you go into the psychology and the evolution of it, like money is resources and resources is survival.
Hmm.
And so it is going to be that fight or flight of like, no, too much. So like breaking it down into chunks, and like maybe you just like your hyper focus look is that one smallest debt that you have, and you put every penny you can towards that one smallest debt, and before you know it, it's gone.
Right,
And then you do the next smallest debt. And I didn't come up with the debt snowball. I'm not, this has been around for years and years, but truly it leans into the psychology of our like how our brains work, and having those like small wins and setting goals that like when you're first getting started, maybe your goal is to only go to the grocery store once a week and
hmm,
do something that you can achieve. Like your first, I would say 10 money goals should be something that you know you can achieve, but you actually take action on right away. And so
right,
you're going to rebuild that confidence, because so many of us are like, we're bad at money. I'm bad at money. And you're going to keep telling yourself that. But if you set 10 money goals that you actually achieve, you're going to start believing that you're good at money again.
right. Oh, I love that. So as we come to the end, what last piece of advice would you give our listeners right now?
My biggest like overall thing is like, you have to have something that lights your soul on fire, but you also have to give yourself grace. And really my financial content and like the goal of my page is to find that sweet spot in the middle of hitting our goals and knowing that we're going to mess up.
Yeah, and being able to kind of start over.
Yeah, and like when you mess up, the goal is not like I'm done. I
Hmm.
can't do this. Like I messed up once. in the last 7 years, like I have been a financial content creator for 7 years, and I just posted a couple weeks ago, like I overdrafted my bank account because I like did some numbers that didn't line up. Like mistakes still happen, and they're going to
Right.
happen for the rest of your life. Like money is till death. And so like it's really digging into like how can I get back on track after I make that mistake. And that's when the magic starts happening in your budget.
I like that. Words of wisdom, guys, from Elyse, aka the Money Mentor, aka the Savvy Sagittarius. My daughter's a Sagittarius, so
Whew,
it
good
is.
luck.
I'm a Capricorn. It's a mess over here.
My son's a Leo, so send all prayers.
We're both everybody's in control. So
Yeah, we're we are all trying to do all the things, and we all want to be the leader.
yes, 100%. So guys, please make sure you go check out Elise's Savvy Budget Workbook at the Savvy Sagittarius. Hit her up on Instagram and definitely follow her. I would advise you guys to definitely download the workbook and go step by step, start at page 1 and cry. But it definitely would help. Thank you so much for joining us. Please let our audience know where they can find you online.
Yes, I am at the Savvy Sagittarius on all of the platforms, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. And then I have a website, www.thesavvysagittarius.com.
Thank you. And guys, make sure you give us a subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and leave us a review. You can find us on TikTok at Politics But Make It Fashion, on Facebook at Politics But Make It Fashion, and on Instagram at Politics But Make It Fashion 1. And we will chat soon.